understand that you are going to fail, but it's how you respond to the different stimuli that you might be faced in life. There will be obstacles thrown at your way, unforeseen events, it's things that are out of your control. It's always about how you respond, the attitude you have, and lastly, just never let anyone tell you what you can or can't do in this life. I was told that I couldn't do something. I was publicly humiliated when I was around in 7th grade. A couple of my peers, we went down to Wayne State, and someone told me, he asked, what did you want to do when you grow up? Stood up, told him I want to be a professional football player. And he said, don't bother. And he started listing off all these numbers and data points and stuff. And at that point, I just tuned him out and went home, told my mom, and she was like, well, so what are you going to do about it now? Like, are you going to give up? Are you going to prove him right? Or are you going to go out there and prove him wrong? And that's kind of when I get tired of certain things, or not tired, but when things are a little bit harder to wake up in the morning, that is the thing that burns in the back of my mind. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to let him be right no matter what. So I get up, even when you're a little extra sore, been up a little bit later, studying film, you get back up to it and you find that same fire and that passion.
Wow, it's been like months since the Draymond Green episode. Nobody wants to come on the show anymore. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here with my man, DaRon Gilbert, and I'm so excited. Met DaRon here in the last year as he's playing in Detroit. Listen, let me set the table properly. DaRon is a versatile linebacker whose play style has been shaped by his experience both at safety and linebacker. And you were playing safety and receiver in high school at the Brother Rice. His journey has included navigating injuries and earning his spot back on the roster. Today's conversation, man, we're going to delve into his development as a professional, but more importantly, as you all know, as a human being. He is first class, a one of one, and especially for a young man who's had so much opportunity, but adversity along the way. DaRon, welcome to At the Podium.
Thank you so much, Manny, for having me. Like you said, it's been a crazy ride. Just very blessed to be here, and just thank you for the opportunity.
Man, so Detroit, Michigan. Man, seriously, I'm like looking at all these things online, social media. I know the guys over at Sound Mind, Sound Body, and all these like youth development programs. I am not surprised that there is so much talent coming out of the city of Detroit and the Southeast Michigan area. I mean, you grew up playing with some guys. There's a bunch of guys in the league from your generation and maybe a few classes above, right?
Correct. I mean, I've grew up and played with a lot of guys, Jalen Graham, Nick Jones, Dalen Baldwin. Played against Ambry Thomas. Donovan Peoples-Jones was a couple age groups above me.
Yeah.
Played for the same organization. There's a lot of guys who we've played against each other, as well as Derek Harmon just got drafted.
Oh, that's right.
Luke Newman, went to high school with him. Larry Bourne.
That's right. Big Luke, man.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir. So it's a lot of talent that wasn't getting the right eyes being watched on them, but I'm just glad that things are kind of turning around right now. And so I believe that the world's kind of seeing what the Detroit area and Southeast Michigan has to offer.
Talk a little bit about when you first fell in love with the game of football. I don't know that our listeners know your story as well as they should, but what brought you to love the game of football, and talk a little bit about the mentors and coaches that you've had along the way.
Yeah, of course. So my dad, a lot of people don't know, he's a referee. He refereed basketball, football, and it was one time I was playing soccer, and my dad used to take me all the time with him to go to his football games. And I was around like maybe 6 years old, and I actually went to a football game. He was reffing the Southfield Falcons, and I was playing football with a bunch of the kids on the side. I would believe they were like maybe 2 or 3 years older than me, and I was running around and scoring on them, tackling those guys, so just having a bunch of fun. And I told my dad, I said, hey, I want to go practice with them. And he said, well, you have to wait. You can't. They already started the season. So I was a little bit bummed out about that, but got in there the next year, and then it just, it was on from then. So I was very happy, and he kind of introduced it to me.
Share a little bit about the relationship you had with your father growing up and continuing to play the game as you then went into high school, in college. Obviously, as an official, he knew the game. Man, he knows the game better than most players.
Right.
Really, if you think about that,
Yeah.
right? So talk a little bit about the impact and influence that he had on your relationship and your perspective for the game.
My dad has been amazing. He's been everything that I can ask for in a father figure. He's also helped me, obviously with football, but even without that being a main thing, just being able to talk to him about anything. But growing up, he kind of helped shape me into the person I am today and how I view the sport. He was the main person taking me to practices. He worked the 9 to 5, would pick me up sometimes on his lunch break, whether I had to get to practice early or get somewhere to head off on a bus and travel somewhere. Maybe it could be a game or being on the road. He's just been great and being able to teach me the game and through a lens that maybe a coaches couldn't really explain to me.
I consistently, you consistently see a pattern in a theme with so many young men playing at the professional level where, hey, it's not just the love and the support and sort of that unflinching advocacy from the parents, but sometimes there's also kind of like that one coach or that one mentor, that one, upperclassman that really, really believed in you and advocated for you and never let you quit on yourself. Is there a persona like that in your life, going back to maybe your days at Brother Rice?
Yeah. So when I was at Brother Rice, a lot of people don't know this, I didn't play a lot my freshman year. I didn't really play until my sophomore year, but that's when I tore my MCL. So I'll just take it back to my freshman year really quickly. I was in there and had success, obviously playing youth football, and I thought it was going to be kind of similar when I went to Brother Rice, not really realizing how good those kids really were there. So when I didn't play, it kind of was a wake-up call, and my dad searched for a trainer. So Coach Terry Wilson, he is now the head coach at Chippewa Valley. Waited his term, so very happy for him. And he kind of helped coach and mentor me on the side. A lot of countless hours. Couldn't even tell you how many times we've been in the gym, weight room, out on the field. He's been like a second father figure for me and also helped keep me focused.
Talk about your junior year was really kind of like your homecoming, right? Like
Right.
your breakout season, right? I mean, you were playing both ways. Talk a little bit about that year and any real moments that stand out today where you say, like, that's when I knew that I was going to play at the next level.
I would say it was a time we played CC.
Yeah, don't ever say Country Day on the podcast. Okay.
We played Detroit Catholic Central my junior year, and it's a play. It might still be on my highlight tape. I'm not even sure. It was they ran the ball into the boundary.
Joey, we got to find that highlight tape. All right, just want to make sure we catch that.
We ran the ball, and they ran the ball into the boundary. It was on their sideline, and I just came flying back. I was probably around like 8-9 yards. Run. I was reading run, triggered, and I just lit the kid up in front of me. And it was on, like I said, it was on their sideline. So when I hit him, I wasn't able to make the tackle. I hit him back into the ball carrier. But that's when I realized I was like, maybe I'm a little different, a little bit stronger than what I thought. And so as the year went on, just making more and more plays, playing both ways, like you said, being able to get the ball in my hand. And that's when I kind of was figuring out, like, well, maybe if I take this serious, I have a shot.
I love that you shared that story because the moment I can go back to, I've gone back to my entire life remembering that I was going to play linebacker beyond high school was when they had these older kids who should not have been running in the backfield to just pound the ball down our throat.
Yeah.
And I just remember blitzing and getting through the hole and destroying this guy, Tommy Reynolds, who was 2 years older than me. And in that moment, even though I think I was seeing stars, that was the moment for me too. I didn't make the tackle, but I blew this kid up who was bigger, stronger, older than me. And then I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
And so it's so cool that you had such a similar experience, because a lot of times they're like, oh, I picked up a fumble and I ran it back for, 91 yards. Like the moment is so like almost like mythical, but for me, it was just like hitting someone so hard and winning the hit that it was like, okay, I can.
You're right. And it was a great feeling. Like I said, I just remember obliterating him, and I got up and their sideline looked at me and they were just silent. And it was just the best feeling in the world.
I love it. So, I mean, you went on to finish at Brother Rice, earned 2-time All-Catholic League honors. You hold the school record for the longest interception return, 90 yards. Do you remember that play?
Oh, yeah. That was
take us back.
Yeah. We were running some type of I want to say it was a read quarters coverage, maybe palms coverage. And the quarterback just didn't see me, kind of baited him a little bit. I stepped in front of the receiver, and I caught the pass. And we were playing Mumford High School. And when I caught it, I looked to my right. There was nobody over there but the sideline and my teammates. And they were all waving to me like, let's go. Yeah. So I just started running, just didn't look back.
So we have a, super thankful. So we've got 3 Detroit Country Day Summer Associates with us, student athletes. Love these guys, just studs. Andy Oakes, Carter Tiernan, Cole Wilhelmi, and we also have a young man from Dearborn, Brendan Guciardo. And so one of the cool things that I've learned over the summer is that I guess social media is like a cool thing. Like people really do use social media a lot. And so they're pouring into our social media right now, and they're helping us grow our following with student athletes. Okay, because what we want to do is we want to take the stories of the DaRon Gilbert, right? The Khalif Raymond, the Anthony Pittman of the world, the Israel Adonijah, the Desmond Clark, right? The Herman Moore, right? The Calvin Johnson. We want to take those stories and we want to reverse engineer those to the earlier years so that these young student athletes can connect with the true possibility of what they can achieve if they want to continue to play sports at a high level. So when you think back to ending your high school career and beginning to think about college, walk us through what that decision-making process was like for you as a young man coming out of Detroit, playing at the Brother Rice at a high level, and knowing you had options to continue to play.
Yeah, I was recruited by higher schools. Some of them wanted me to potentially gray shirt was a thing being talked about then. A lot of others wanted me to walk on, and there was kind of like a little bit of conflicts. Was I going to play linebacker in college? Is he still a safety? A lot of the smaller schools wanted me at safety, and I believe the issue for me, I wanted to play safety, and I felt like I was a safety. And so when I went, I decided, I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to play early and get the experience. And if I have an extra year left, I'll graduate and pursue further education and go play somewhere else and hopefully play at a higher level. So when I was coming out of high school, I knew I wanted to go to a good academic school. That was first and foremost because I went to Brother Rice. So I wanted to kind of help expound on that and build that further. So I decided to commit to Holy Cross, same school Khalif went to. So it's crazy.
And the jersey behind you.
Right, it's it's perfect. It's very fitting. So I decided to commit to Holy Cross, and I was committed there, and it didn't feel like home for me. And I'm big on something feeling like home. Had the conversation with my parents, and decommitted shortly after. Took the visit to Lafayette College, and that's when I just was like, yeah, this is home. I fell in love with the school, the coaches, the players, the people. So that's where I spent my first 4 years and received my undergraduate degree.
Looking back at your time at Lafayette, what were one or two of either the characteristics of the school and the program or your experience when you visited that said, this is home? What made it home?
I feel like since it was such a small school, everybody really did know everyone there. It was almost like an extended version of high school, which can be good and bad, depends on how you look at it. I feel like the coaches cared about you outside of just football. They wanted to make sure that you had more of a holistic experience, not just, okay, what can you do for us on the field? How can we help you off of the field? And I believe that was such a turning point for me in understanding, it's not about just football. It's about the 40 years after you're done playing. How can they set you up and be prepared for success outside of just, lacing up some cleats and putting on a helmet and shoulder pads?
Thanks for sharing that. I know when you first came in and we were catching up a little bit, we were talking about this vision that I've had for Podium football and it being a true resource, grounded in financial stewardship, but that in a simple, clear, and honest way helps young men transition from the locker room to the boardroom, right? Like, what will life look like once I hang up my cleats and my helmet for the last time? And so, we're really passionate about that. It's almost like a passion project right now. But as it gains momentum, we realize that, it's really just the resource after you go to a great college that does that for you. Right. So if you pick the right school, the school is already making deposits in you to help you think about life after football. And that's where, I don't want to get into it because I'm like upsetting. It's upsetting to me. This whole transfer portal thing is upsetting to me. It's like a complete slap in the face on unflinching loyalty and commitment to team over self. Like you can't say, one team first and be a transfer portal guy. I'm sorry. You cannot say that, right? I mean, just the hypocrisy in this whole thing. And I know Coach Izzo loves me for having the passions and beliefs I do, but it's so great to hear that you were able to pick the school for you. When did you know you wanted to play one more year? And what brought you to NIU?
So I knew I wanted to play. So when I went to college and I started as a true freshman, so unfortunately I burned my red shirt, and I got hurt again. So I was able to come back from injury, play like 5 more games the rest of the season. And it was probably the last week of my college career. We played Lehigh on our home field. We beat them. And I kind of had a feeling then that would have been my last game at Lafayette, and I was torn. I really wanted to come back, but ultimately I knew I could not because I also made a promise to my mom that I would pursue higher education. And because my school wasn't a university, it was a college. We didn't have a graduate school. If we had one, I would have stayed. That probably would have been, done deal, end all, be all. But I decided I wanted to receive my MBA, so I was looking for a school that would allow me to do that and also play football at a high level. So I decided to go to NIU and made some great friends and still talk to those guys to this day and have a lot of good connection with the coaching staff, good relationship with them. So, it all worked out, and I was very happy.
You played there at a time when they had some big wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, straight Sports Center 24/7.
Yes, sir.
Which is, I'm a Chicago kid, right? So, historically, that is not the case for Northern Illinois. I mean, going back, and you and I talked about this as well, but, my dear friend Garrett Wolf, I mean, dude, listen, complete legend in life now, even after the locker room. So, I mean, the shout out to G-Dubs, man, did it on the field and off the field. But that was the last time that we would consistently see NIU on SportsCenter is when he ran and when he ran, ran everybody over, right? I mean, nation's leading rusher, and then went on and played a number of years with the Chicago Bears, my beloved Chicago Bears. Talk about some of your biggest memories from your time at NIU. Games, plays, teammates, just what? Because it was special. You played during a great era at NIU.
Yeah. For me, I would say the first game we played Boston College. And one of my teammates now, Christian Mahogany, he actually played against him, beat him. So, I, was, just giving him a little hard time with that when I finally saw him again. And there was actually a play, and we always talk about it in the locker room. It was a play there. The quarterback he pulled something that you would see off of, the video game, college football video game. Running around, he's making a couple of our guys miss. I finally go up to try to tackle him, and Christian just absolutely destroys me in the back. No flag. And I'm like, I get up, I'm looking, and he's like, yeah, bro, I'm not going to lie. Like, I definitely did that. But I was happy that they didn't throw it. But, yeah, he's a great guy. So we talk about that all the time. But we went out there, beat them, an overtime thriller. So just NIU fashion, right? Just the hard way, gritty win. Then we went and played Nebraska. being able to be in that environment in front of 85,000 fans, I mean, it was insane. We were in the game for a lot of, majority of the time, and we just ran out of gas late in the fourth quarter. But being able to be in those two environments, playing at that high level, playing against other pros, and playing with some of my teammates who are now in the NFL as well, such as James Esther with the Packers.
Oh, yeah.
J.J. Lippy also with the Packers. You have Devontae O'Malley with the Titans. Nate Valcarcel is with the Rams. And there will be a lot of other guys as well. It was just a beautiful thing to see all of us come together and play well for each other in that final season I played.
When we were together this spring at our fireside chat where we celebrated my dear friend Jason Wilson, right, themes like the idea of auditing your circle and a brotherhood and being in environments where as a masculine male you feel safe and understood to truly speak what's inside instead of this ongoing silent suffering that often exists, especially with high performance males in aggressive, physically aggressive sports, right? It's like you don't know if you can be yourself and say what you really think. You went through a lot of adversity. I mean, just injuries, I mean, changes of environment. I mean, even just what seems like we kind of glazed over the simple decision almost. It seemed like it was simple, but it couldn't have been, to go from Holy Cross to Lafayette. And then to be at Lafayette and say, well, I made a commitment to my mother to pursue a higher education. So now how do I select a school? And now I'm going to Northern Illinois University. Who are the main people outside of, let's say, your parents who've really been in your circle that you audit consistently to ensure that you've got the right energy, the right vibe, the right words, the right perspective, the right vision being poured into you so that you can continue to pursue your dreams of playing in the NFL?
Well, I have a couple people.
Please.
Outside of my friends. I'll just talk about three coaches that really mattered for me. Coach McFadden, he's one of the guys that brought me to Lafayette College. Still have a great relationship with him. Coach Meade, who's currently the coach, DB's coach at Lafayette, still talk to him, and we have a great relationship. And then I mentioned before Coach Terry Wilson. So I'll always kind of have conversations with those guys, not as often as they used to be, but we'll check in a couple of times a month and just see how life is, and not even just about football, but truthfully about life. And they kind of help keep me focused to make those decisions. Also, my friends, I have a certain friend group from high school that I talk to. We call ourselves the Fab Five because it is five of us. Shout out to those guys, but they've helped keep me focused. Whenever I've been feeling down or whatever, they've kind of just helped keep my focus to where I want it to be, what I've always spoken about, what I've always wanted to accomplish in my life. And then also my teammates, some of them at Lafayette, some of them at NIU. I kind of like keep all those guys close to me. We all have the same goal in mind. We all push each other to be better. And it's not what they can do for me, but also what can I do for them. And I believe that's the biggest thing. You want to make sure that everybody that you're surrounding yourself, of course, what they can do, how can they help benefit you as well. But I feel like when you make those long-lasting connections, it's a reciprocated energy that you're giving back. And it's, what can I do for that person as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's definitely, I've often thought about the sort of like selfish aspect of giving, because when we give, we almost like kind of feel better about ourselves. We're like, hey, okay, man, I am pouring water into the well that I'm drinking from so that others may drink water as well, right? And I've, DaRon, I'm 2+ times your age, but I've found that the more I get comfortable with acknowledging that it's okay, that it's somewhat of a selfish act, the more comfortable I get acknowledging it, the more I do it. And then the more I do it, the more I receive back, right? And it's just unbelievable how organically cyclical it really is to attempt to put others first, and knowing that like the energy of the world, the laws of life will reward you back when it's your time. And so it's so cool to hear that you've got that, especially with your coaches. Again, shout out to Coach Terry Wilson at Chippewa. I mean, that's that's just awesome to hear that he's the head coach at Chippewa Valley now. And shout out, obviously, to the Fab Five and the guys that you've played, with that Lafayette and NIU. You get to the Lions, undrafted free agent a year ago, and right away there's an injury. Walk us through what were a couple of the key themes or consistent recurring themes, narratives that were going through your mind about what to do next?
I had a tough conversation with myself shortly after. This is right after I, kind of made a little bit of a name for myself. Maybe this kid can play, this undrafted kid from
No, you made a name for yourself. I mean, it's okay. You can get off the humility horse. I'm here for you, right? Yes, you made a name for yourself because I knew of you before I even met you.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you for that. But
Thank
sorry,
you.
I interrupted you.
No, that's perfectly fine. So made a name for myself in the spring, and then carried that on through fall camp. Played in the first preseason game and had a good showing, and the coaches were fired up about that, and a lot of my teammates kind of said, okay, maybe this rookie can get out there and play a little bit. And I ended up getting hurt maybe 3 days after that, right before we were about to take off to go to Kansas City and play them in a preseason game. And I remember when the injury happened, I remember when one of our trainers told me, like, hey, this is the injury you have. You're going to be out for X amount of weeks. And I remember sitting down and telling him, I said, listen, I can't afford that. I have to play. I was like, I don't have that opportunity. I can't sit out. I know what's at stake for me. Is there anything that they can do to just wrap it up? Let me just go out there and try at least. And obviously it didn't work. I couldn't play with it. So having that conversation with Coach Campbell like a day after, he kept my spirits up. Ultimately, the decision was to let me go because of other injuries that happened on the team. And I remember when I was sitting at home and all I can think about was maybe my career could be over. And they told me that they would bring me back. And I did believe that they would, held them to their word. And they ended up bringing me back in December. And I was able to come back and join the team for the last couple of weeks of the season in the playoff push. But I remember a couple of times I was having conversations with my mom, my dad, like, is this how my story is really going to end? And I remember my mom, and she sat me down and said, God wouldn't, open the doors for you and show you something that's not obtainable and just to take it away from you. So that's kind of like helped put me back on track to stay committed, stay eating right, stay conditioned, rehabbing like crazy out of my hamstring. And I was able to come back. When they called me, I was ready.
Yeah, I mean, and I really appreciate you sharing that story because I know you were going through a difficult time. I mean, that story for different reasons or catalysts, I mean, mirrors so much of, what your teammate and my dear friend Anthony Pittman went through. And I bring that up in like a almost like a comparison or mirroring the path because of what it says about the Detroit Lions organization today. That they're actually one of the few NFL organizations that when they say something, you don't need a contract. You don't need an attorney. If they say this is our intention, if you do what you're supposed to do, this is our intention, and we will bring you home. It's just unbelievable. And there's more stories than that. And I just think like that's hats off, man, to the Ford family, to Coach Campbell, to the rest of the coaching staff, to Brad Holmes. I mean, it's just such hats off to an NFL organization that today, in today's world, seems to be operating with integrity at a level that others just are not.
Yes, sir. And I mean, like I said, it's home, and you can kind of see the change in the regime, how the front office operates, how the coaching staff operates. It's a lot of former players, so they get it. They understand. And they like to think of how are we going to put our players in the best position to succeed on and off the field? And, I mean, it's a refreshing feeling when you step into a building that they have your back. And it's not just, players versus coaches or players, coaches. It's all one in unison. So Yeah, I'm very excited for this upcoming season. I just can't wait to get back there and go play ball again, to be honest.
Well, we're super excited for you, and you're reporting back in a couple days, right?
You're right.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Let's go. And Pitt's getting married.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
No more green tea shots for Pitt. He's done.
Talk about the locker room. So, first season in Detroit. And again, you kind of had a start-stop moment and experience, but you got back in the locker room when, man, that locker room had to be just insane to be in. And I know so many of the characters that I'm like, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and be young again.
Yeah.
Talk about, what are some of the things that when you say, like, hey, if I was going to describe our locker room, this is how I would describe it to people who may never be able to go in it and experience it?
Honestly, I don't think there's one word you can. It's so many different moving parts, so many different personalities, characters, but it all fits in the same time. You have your guys that don't say much. You have your guys that say a lot. You have the guys that joke a lot. But at the end of the day, we have a bunch of characters in the locker room that without them being on the team, be a piece of us would be missing. So it's a locker room that's very tight, close knit. Very funny. We like to have fun with each other. We have to have fun with the coaches. So it's a very, like I said, it's not really a tense energy when you walk in. There's no egos. The egos checked at the door. So we all have one common goal in mind, and we never speak about what it is, but it's off in the distance. So.
Well, and that's become, I think, even more evident in public facing with Amonra and EQ's podcast, where they continue to have Monroe's teammates as guests, and so many of the funny stories come up. Like, I loved Craig Reynolds' episode. I just thought I was like, C-Ray there's so many good stories. You're like, you wouldn't realize how, you just would not know how tight you all are without those stories coming out, and it's so cool to see that. You can get down to business, but you can also be brothers and be young and really just enjoy life together as well.
Right.
There has to be a couple things that you've, through observation, have seen Coach Campbell do consistently that really kind of set the tone from the top. Are there one or two things you can share that you'd say, hey, we all have a different perspective of Coach Campbell, but for me, these are one or two things that I respect and admire about him and why I give my best at all times?
I would say he's probably the one coach that if he told me, hey, DaRon, I need you to go run through this wall right now 20 times, head first, for sure, coach, no problem. No questions asked, I'm going to do it. That's just the type of guy he is. He can command the locker room. He can command a space to where he's going to get your best. He's a great coach. And I believe great coaches, they understand that perfection is not obtainable. They're not, crazy to think that, but what they will do is motivate you to that's what you have to strive for. You're going to fail. And he understands we're not going to have perfect days all the time. He prides himself on the ability to consistently just get 1% better each and every day. The goal is to not be our best day one of camp. That's not what we're focused on. We're focused on getting the reps in, being able to come out day 10, day 11, day 12 with the same energy, the same attitude, the same effort that we had on day one in the dog days of camp leading up to the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
He's a coach that prides himself on being able to adapt, be resilient, and he commands a great deal of effort and communication. And I believe that's what you've been seeing this whole time, and able to change the culture of a locker room to where guys just have the utmost respect for him.
I've heard people speak of his just uncanny level of relatability with every guy.
Yeah.
Just every guy in the locker room is like, oh, Coach Campbell's my guy. He has this uncanny level of relatability. What is there something specific he does? Is he vulnerable? Does he what does someone in that type of position do when there's so many characters on that team that are so different to just be so relatable to all of them?
Well, I believe he has the ability to take that coach hat off, and he can sit it down on the desk and talk to you.
Say more.
Yeah, as a person, as a football player, but importantly as a human, and he never loses sight of he understands that why you're here and why he's here, and is obviously is to win football games and to push each other to be great. But like I said, he has the ability to also talk to you more on a personable level and understand what makes you tick, why you are the way you are, and why the way he is the way he is, which, I mean, it allows for you to go up to him and talk to him about basically anything.
I mean, this is a huge season for you, and it's so good to hear. Well, the war is won in the mind, and you're clearly focused and obsessed on being healthy,
Yeah.
and going out and winning, and I love that. Do you have one or two goals written down for this season that you say, hey, this is my bullseye, this is my obsession, that are measurable, that you'd say these are one or two things I absolutely need to accomplish this season?
I'll say I believe it's the same with everybody. Everybody wants to make the active roster. I believe that's the biggest thing. Everybody wants to go out there and be able to directly affect the game, and whether it's offense, defense, special teams. Outside of that, if it's not the active roster, obviously being able to remain in the building, being a part of the organization, being on practice squad, helping those guys out, give them a look, and never know, you can get your number called to go out there and have your chance to see what you can do. So I would say that's the biggest thing. The second thing is when I get my chance, to make the most of it. So rather it's getting your hand on the football, being disruptive, it's anything I can do to help impact the game. That's what I want to do. So those are my goals for this upcoming season. And when obviously they'll change as time goes on, and that's the beauty of it. It's a never-ending. It's not just something that's set in stone. It's very fluid with how I operate in my life. So I would say that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Have you met Ian Kennelly yet?
I did.
Yeah. He was here a couple of weeks ago. I loved the hour that I got with him. I mean, I'm so excited for him. GVSU, is on the Lions now. It's like a dream come true. I mean, there are just a number of you where it's like, I don't know what it is about Brad Holmes, but he is like finding diamonds in the middle of like mounds of rocks and pebbles. Like his ability to identify talent through all the mediocrity that's out there on the field today is unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is such a talent himself. I mean, I'm super excited. Anyways, when you were just talking there, I was thinking about Ian, how excited he is to get out there and make the most. He said, I just need to make the most of whatever shot I get. Yeah. And that's such a powerful reason to do the work you've been doing. You've been super disciplined and regimented the last several weeks, last several months, if you will. Share with our student athlete listeners, what are some of the simple habits and daily disciplines that you've been keeping to put yourself in the best position to win this fall?
Well, you got to build a routine. So you got to build a routine, stick to that routine. Even when you get tired of the routine, that's the biggest thing, is consistency. I would say being able to, you got to get up a certain time in the morning, you got to eat breakfast, you got to go, you got to work out, you have to recover, come back home, study a little bit of your playbook, things of that nature that keeps you a pro. And understanding that it's not, if I come back and I'm not in the best shape, or I'm not in, the best position to put myself in a position to succeed, I'm not only letting myself down, my family down, but you're also letting your teammates down, because they're counting on you.
Yes.
So you can come back and be at the best of your ability, regardless that you guys are competing against each other. We all still need to count on each other, so we can go out there and put the best product on the field when it comes to camp. And our first game is July 31st, so it's like we play in basically 2 weeks. And it's pretty crazy.
I can't wait. I'm thankful.
Yeah. And it's like, it's my first game in July that I've ever played in my life. So it's like, this is going to be very interesting. It's going to be new, but I'm excited. We're the only game on TV, I believe. So it's like, it's crazy to think about.
That's going to be awesome. And hey, we're so thankful that y'all are going back early. I don't know why I'm always so miserable with the summer sports seasons, but I am. Okay, so let's just for a second just humor me, because I want you to play 15 years, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it right here.
There we go.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, I went to Motor City Church in Detroit this weekend with my boy Kevin Warren. Loved it. Fell in love with Pastor Eric. It was my first time down there. I go to Kensington, but it was my first time down there, man. It was just such a vibe and connection with God and a higher power. I was like, man, this was like really moving for me, right? So on that energy and vibe, I'm going to knock 15 years in the NFL for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But when you think about life after football, are there things that you're thinking about now that you say, hey, even if it's a decade and a half from right now, these are moves I'm making now to be responsible, to be prepared. These are people I'm bringing into my life to make sure that however long this NFL dream runs, that I'm in the best possible situation for the incredible life I'm going to live beyond the locker room.
Yeah. Going back to Lafayette College, we had a great networking system. Same thing with Brother Rice. And that's what I've been doing when I have the time, networking, talking to guys about that are in positions that I am not in when it comes to the business realm. How did they get there? What is my steps in my process? Because obviously I'll be starting later on in my life where they might have had a little bit of a head start. Well, I want to get to the same position that you're at. How can I do that? Can you help me? Just coming to them and trying to soak up things as a sponge, because I want to one day, hopefully, start my own sports agency myself. And I want to, yeah, I want to do that. So just want to partner with a couple of my guys who are also into that space. I have a couple of guys that are into real estate. So it's a whole lot of things that I've been doing behind the scenes, and obviously keeping football first. That's the biggest thing. But when I have time, getting on some Zoom calls, talking to other guys, talking to my alumni network, and trying to see where can I go after football. What do I want to do?
Is there someone 5 to 10 years ahead of you that you say, hey, man, that he's kind of my North Star for me right now professionally?
As far as in the business space?
Yeah. And it's okay if there's not.
Yeah.
Really just curious, like how you're seeing, I think success leaves clues, right? Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
And so, kudos to you for hopping on those Zooms, building relationships and rapport and trust with guys and gals a decade, 2 decades ahead of you in the world of business, et cetera, right? So I just didn't know if there was somebody that, especially since you were so specific to say, I'd like to start a sports agency.
Yeah.
I wondered if there was somebody that you're kind of just admiring from a distance that you say, man, the way they're doing it is something that inspires me to really consider that.
I wouldn't say there's probably one person. It's just something I kind of always wanted to do. It was really that or hopping into the financial world. So it was either going to be that or investment banking or working for private equity.
You're with Podium Group. Get you an offer right now, Holly.
So
get DaRon an offer.
Yeah, it's like, but when I was talking about things with a couple of my alumni, worked with Brothers of Lafayette, they were like, well, IB is a little bit different and it's a very demanding job. And they were like, you should look into private equity. And so as I was doing my research on that, and I'm like, well, I don't know. And I was like, well, for me, I always wanted to be able to give back in any type of way I can. And I believe that sports agency, what better way to do that than with that? You can work with guys that are from your area, giving those guys opportunities that they might, that believe that they deserve, that other big agencies will not give to them because of where they might have went to school, which I think is crazy to think about, because a lot of the guys, I believe, that really are very good players, they understand how to work and things weren't handed to them. So I believe, like, if you can get a hold of those guys and help them out, give them that opportunity, I believe that's why a lot of guys stick.
I love it. Man, from your mouth to God's ears, brother. Well, I know we're coming up on time right now. I want to wrap up with 2 more questions. So there's going to be a good following of student athletes that listen to this message. And a high percentage of those are going to be Southeast Michigan men and women. And a high percentage of that bucket is going to be a high percentage of kids in Detroit. What's the message that you would share with them? Because we all We all dreamt of playing professional sports. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you were born in the United States of America.
Yes.
Part of the American dream as a little boy or girl is that you think you are going to run the rock, carry the rock, hit the rock, catch the rock, throw the rock.
Yes.
What's the message that you give them to continue to pursue their dreams with like passion and resilience and obsession so that they too might have the chance that you're living out right now?
For one, keep God first in your life, no matter what. 2, understand that you are going to fail, but it's how you respond to the different stimuli that you might be faced in life. There will be obstacles thrown at your way, unforeseen events, things that are out of your control. It's always about how you respond, the attitude you have. And lastly, just never let anyone tell you what you can or can't do in this life. I was told that I couldn't do something. I was publicly humiliated when I was around in 7th grade. A couple of my peers, we went down to Wayne State, and someone told me, he asked, what did you want to do when you grow up? Stood up, told him I want to be a professional football player. And he said, don't bother. And he started listing off all these numbers and data points and stuff. And at that point, I just tuned him out and went home, told my mom, and she was like, well, so what are you going to do about it now? Like, are you going to give up? You going to prove him right? Or are you going to go out there and prove him wrong? And that's kind of when I get tired of certain things, or not tired, but when things are a little bit harder to wake up in the morning, that is the thing that burns in the back of my mind. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to let him be right no matter what. So I get up, even when you're a little extra sore, been up a little bit later studying film, you get back up to it and you find that same fire and that passion.
That's a great message. Keep God first. It's about how you respond, and never allow others to define your true potential and your eventual reality. Awesome.
Beautifully said.
So you play your last snap 15 years from now again. You play your last snap. A month later, you announce your retirement. Your best friend in the NFL and lifelong teammate says something about your style of play. What does he say?
He had a relentless obsession with dominating the game in any facet that he could. He never took no for an answer, and he always gave his best when he stepped out on the field. And I think that's the biggest thing that people would tell you throughout my career, whether it was working out, practices, games, even coming to different community events. You want to give it your all. I went to, Anthony's camp. I went to Tyler's camp.
Yeah.
And you're coaching those kids, and a lot of those times you see yourself into them. So you naturally want to pour into the kids that are there. They took the time out to come, and shout out to those parents, because those parents got them there. So you want to make it worth their while, and hopefully when they get older and are in the same position that you're in, they can also give back. And it's just about the experiences of life.
Folks, you heard it. Another son, brother, teammate, high-performing student-athlete of the city of Detroit, Michigan, Brother Rice, Lafayette, Northern Illinois, and the Detroit Lions, all a part of the story to this point. I cannot wait to see the rest of the story you will write. And just blessed to, get to experience you as a friend and someone that is so obsessed with just being great in every dimension of your life, man. It's a true blessing. It was a gift that you came in today. You report tomorrow.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sending you a ton of love and good vibes and blessings as you head back. And I know that you will leave it all in the field, man. Thinking about you and your teammates this season.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you've done for not only me, but for a lot of these athletes and a lot of the families that you continue to touch. We all appreciate the work you've done, and trust me, it is not taken for granted.
Thanks, brother. DaRon Gilbert, let's go.